Sometimes it's you having fun with video games, and at others, it's video games that are making fun of you. Here's 20 games over the past 3 decades that all trolled players in one way or another. In 1993's X-Men, which is widely regarded as one of the best X-Men games ever made, after the Mojo boss fight, players received an instruction informing them that they need to restart their system. Obviously most gamers hesitated to do so, but the idea here was to lightly tap the reset button in order to progress. However, many players pressed too hard, causing a hard reset, meaning they would have to start over from scratch since the game didn't have a save function. Man, this must have driven some people insane. Next up, we have Fallout New Vegas from 2010. So if you have low intelligence and attempt to provide medical assistance to one of the injured boomers at Nellis, you'll see an option that says chop chop chop, low intelligence. Amazingly, if you choose this option, your efforts actually work, and somehow instead of amputating the patient's leg, you manage to miraculously save it. What's more, the attending doctor will also mutter how you quite literally have dumb luck. Who says stupid people can't be surgeons, eh? 2022's High on Life is full of gags and trolls, but one of the funniest has to be when you come across an alien who asks that you just watch his bike for a short while. Now this quest is easy enough, but if you let the bike out of your field of view for even just a second, it'll disappear. And it doesn't really matter how long you watch, the alien only comes back after the bike has been stolen. He'll then proceed to tell you off for your lack of care. Anyway, these kinds of things are strewn throughout High on Life, so it's not like you actually had a chance, right? I'm not sure if this next one is so much a troll as it is common sense, but in 2004's GTA San Andreas, you quite literally cannot take on at least 2 missions if CJ is too heavyset. Yep, if he tries to start Green Goo or Black Project while being overweight, poor CJ will receive a mouthful from characters telling him to get lost and come back once he's shed a few pounds. It may be one of the older games in the series, but San Andreas still has to be one of the most memorable and funniest. And to be fair, using a jetpack when you're obese just seems like a recipe for disaster. This next one may be one of the biggest trolls on this list, but in 2017's The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Link needs to collect Korok seeds in order to unlock more slots for pieces of clothing, shields, and weapons. Now you only need to gather around 440 seeds to reach maximum capacity, but there's a total of more than 900 scattered across Hyrule. So if you painstakingly set about collecting all of these seeds, Link's reward from Hestu will be some golden Korok poop that can be used to trigger Hestu's dance whenever desired. Yeah, I think if I was Link I'd be a little more than enraged at having gone to all that trouble for probably the biggest slap in the face in the franchise's history. Better get some Hylian air freshener. Games deal with piracy in different ways, but one of the most punishing is seen in Earthbound from 1994. Get this, if a pirated copy of the game is detected, a warning comes up informing you that pirating games is a crime. Then significantly more enemies will spawn during your playthrough, meaning making progress is nothing short of a slog. And if you somehow manage to get through all of this, at the final battle, the game will freeze and bomb out. Also, all of your saves will be lost. If that doesn't teach people not to pirate games, then I don't honestly know what will. Next we have 2015's The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Widely regarded as the best in the series, Wild Hunt gives you lots of options, such as being able to romance either Yennefer or Triss. But for those players who believe they can get away with both, an epic troll awaits them. Just when it seems like Geralt will get to see his wildest fantasies come to life, he ends up getting chained to the bed and left to figure out how to free himself. To make matters worse, if you try to talk to either woman again, they'll both say they want nothing more to do with you. Ouch! Guess 2 timing comes at a high price, eh Anon? So I'm sure many of you know 2019's Splitgate, a free-to-play multiplayer FPS where you get to use portals for traversal and potentially other purposes. So on one of the levels called Club Silo, you'll come across a sign that reads Battle Royale Drop Zone, with some arrows pointing downwards. Now if you decide to jump down, you simply drop to your death. I can only imagine this little trick has caused countless thousands of players to fall to their doom. And I'm sure the devs at 1047 Games still chuckle about this one on the daily. In Batman Arkham Asylum from 2009, Batman has to face off against the Joker and many other lunatics from Arkham Asylum. When dealing with Scarecrow, he uses fear gas to mess with the Dark Knight's head. The hallucinations are divided into 3 levels, and on the final one, the whole game will actually freeze and then crash, which must have given most players the fright of a lifetime. But then the game's intro will play again, showing Joker taking Batman into Arkham using the Batmobile. Gotta hand it to the devs, that is truly some next level trolling. There's no doubt that gamers should be careful with their feedback. When 2012's Diablo 3 came out, a lot of people criticized the game for its cartoonish art style, which they also said was too bright. In response, the devs released a secret level called Whimsy Show, which featured bright green fields, tranquil blue waters, rainbows, and teddy bears. Basically, all the dark, frightening stuff from the base game was replaced with super cute objects and characters. Personally, I think they should just make a whole RPG called Whimsy Show and take the whole gag to its logical conclusion. I know Blizzard have many faults, but this is one of the best trolls ever, hands down. I'm sure a lot of you are still sore about this one, but when Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty was first advertised, players strongly got the impression that they would once again take on the role of Solid Snake as he did his best to take out a bunch of bad guys. But when the game was released in 2001, it soon became apparent that Snake only featured for about 1/3 of it. For the rest of the time, players assumed the role of Raiden, a younger blonde-haired rookie agent looking to make his mark in the world of subterfuge and espionage. Many fans felt besmirched by this move and didn't like Raiden one bit, but in spite of this, he's remained a major player in the series, even going on to star in 2013's Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which has enjoyed just a little more than huge acclaim, and it's got a banging soundtrack to boot. 2011's Dark Souls is a notoriously difficult game, but it's also something that trolled tons of players thanks to the machinations of creator Hidetaka Miyazaki. At the beginning of the game, players can choose between various artifacts that will provide some minor benefits to their character. One such item is the pendant, and when Miyazaki was interviewed and asked which item he'd pick, he said either the pendant or nothing at all. So naturally, everyone followed his lead. So what does the pendant do? Absolutely nothing. Yep, Miyazaki later admitted that this was just a huge prank and something he conjured up to troll players. I think I know why Dark Souls is so sadistic now. Thanks, Miyazaki. This next entry may not be quite as punishing as Earthbound, but in Serious Sam 3, if it's discovered that your copy of the game is pirated, an invincible arachnoid will spawn and do everything in its power to wipe you out. Not only can you not kill this enemy, but it's also smaller and faster than standard arachnoids. However, by using the console command kill all, you can instantly take out this miniature devil. You can also stun it like a regular enemy if you attack it enough. I actually think this mechanic is a bit too chilled out. In my opinion, if it insta-killed you upon meeting you, that would be pretty insane. Either way, it's still a great troll. It may actually be 2008's GTA 4 that's the runner-up in the dealing with piracy department. If you have a pirated copy of the game, you may experience several, shall we say, impediments. These include the camera moving around drunkenly when you drive, cars only being able to go forward, significantly reduced vehicle durability, and certain missions simply being inaccessible. And you also won't be able to use any computers in-game, making many missions unplayable. The pain! The pain! I guess the best bet is just to grab yourself a legit copy of the game if you actually want to be able to enjoy it. You've been warned. In some cases, if you act selfishly for no reason whatsoever, games may actually troll you. Hard. One such case is in 2013's Dead Rising 3. If you complete chapters 1 to 6 and then head to the plane instead of the karaoke bar, Nick will attempt to escape by himself, leaving everyone to die. However, Gary, Rhonda, Annie, and Red then enter the hangar and knock Nick out. Although he pleads with the group and tells them he was just joking, they don't forgive him and instead leave him behind to die alone. That's definitely one way to teach gamers not to act like an idiot. Our next troll moment comes from God of War Ragnarok from 2022. During the fight with Thor, Kratos ends up dodging the Thunder God's hammer, Mjolnir, and shortly thereafter, the two get locked in a bind. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Thor breaks the lock and smashes Kratos over the head with his hammer, basically killing him. The usual Black Death screen will then come up, but before you can do anything, you'll hear Thor say,
"Oh no, I say when we're done."
He then uses Mjolnir to resuscitate Kratos so that he can continue fighting him. This is actually one of the most epic moments in gaming and possibly one of the best trolls I've ever seen. Nice work. Goat Simulator is a real serious game, but did you know that in Goat Simulator 3 from 2022, if you explore the world, you'll come across a movie poster that kinda looks like it has Vin Diesel from the Fast and Furious on it. But it's not Vin Diesel, it's Von Dossel, and the movie is Alt F4. So some players saw this and thought it was some kind of cool Easter egg. But no, hitting Alt and F4 will magically teleport you to your desktop. Remember, just because a game hints that you should maybe do something doesn't mean you should actually do it. It's no secret that Pokémon fans love Gengar, but if you want to get one, you need to evolve a Haunter first. However, you can only get a Haunter by trading with someone. In 2006's Pokémon Diamond and Pearl, you end up meeting a girl by the name of Mindy who will offer to trade you for a Haunter. At first this seems like the deal of the century, but once you make the trade, you'll discover that her Haunter has an Everstone, meaning it can never be evolved. To add insult to injury, she then says, haha, did my haunted turn into something else? Just kidding. This absolutely has to be one of the worst trades and biggest trolls in gaming history. That's seriously mean. We've had a couple of GTA games on this list, but this next troll is maybe slightly better than the one seen in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. In a mission called What Lies Beneath in 2013's GTA 5, players are required to search for and recover 30 different submarine parts that are scattered across the ocean surrounding Los Santos. Now, actually finding all of these can be a painful process and may take several hours of your precious time, so you would think the reward for all your dedicated effort would be substantial, right? Wrong. All you get from Abigail is $10 and an autographed photograph of her former lover. At this point, you can either let her go or murder her to take out your frustration. And really, I wouldn't blame you for doing the latter. I would be utterly flabbergasted, then blindingly furious. Link would agree, I'm sure. And last but not least on our epic list is the Bane gun from Borderlands 2 from 2012. This particular weapon is obtained from the mission called the Bane, and while it's able to inflict an insane amount of damage, its sound effects will probably drive you to madness. Just listen for yourself. But it gets so much worse. Even if you turn in-game music and sound effects down to 0, you'll still be able to hear the gun at full volume. Moreover, if you swap weapons while reloading, every single weapon you have will then have the Bane voice. Thankfully, quitting and reloading the game or getting into a vehicle will fix this, but still, this is ultra annoying and possibly the most grating troll on this list. So that's it for today's video, y'all. Which of these trolls do you find to be the worst? Or do you have troll moments from other games that are somehow even worse? Let us know in the comments. Go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily gaming, VR, and tech content. From me and the crew, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later!